I'm Dr. Robert Miller. I'm a California veterinarian. In the year 2005, a colleague from Brazil, Dr. Fernando Rolim, invited me to come lecture in Brazil at an international equine exposition and asked me if I could suggest a number of veterinarians and trainers who could help introduce the revolution in horsemanship that's occurring in our country and elsewhere in the world into Brazil. I gave him about 15 names, and a dozen of these people went. We had a fantastic time. The Brazilian people were wonderful to us, and we all got this this buckle.
And we drink a lot of beer.
And a lot of good Brazilian beer. And I'd like to introduce some of the people that attended and ask them a question. I'll start with the man on the right. This is Roddy Lara. He's an Arizona cowboy. He's a professional trainer. That's how he makes his living. I think he does mostly mules, but some horses. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And he's one of the softest, gentlest trainers I know of. And I'd like to ask him what it was that directed you to this type of training.
I think what really interested me in the world of training was trying to perfect the horsemanship skills with training mules. Basically, I fell in love with how the mule responds and how intelligent they are, and et cetera, et cetera. Like Dr. Miller was saying, we're trying to promote better horsemanship skills and training skills throughout the world, and I want to extend my appreciation to all these gentlemen and for being invited to such an event. And we're really pushing for another International Equine Congress, and we are trying to focus our skills to help other people in the whole world. So that's probably it in a nutshell.
Thank you. On my right is Eton Balach, a man I didn't know until a few years ago. Somebody sent me a video, and as I watched it, I realized I was seeing one of the greatest horsemen I had ever seen. He is a master of European classical horsemanship. Am I saying it right? Who, as a boy, saw an American Western movie and decided that's what I want to become when I grow up, an American cowboy. And he actually did it. Millions of boys have thought that, and but he actually did what he said, and he's a very prominent trainer, particularly of Morgan horses. He's developed the form of horsemanship he calls cowboy dressage. These French words get me. And since I can't think of any more to say about him, I'll let him speak for himself.
What's when you said dressage, you know, a lot of people think that that's the stuff you put in a turkey. but anyway, well, I'm glad that you put my name going to Brazil, because it's really I think make the Congress for us an adventure or a trip that we never forget. That's not just the mules and the donkeys and the hospitality and the beer and everything else. We had probably the greatest time we ever had.
I'm going to plug a video that Ate's made that I'm absolutely nuts about. It's called Dances with Cows. His ranch is Wolf Creek Ranch in Grass Valley, California. It is the most beautiful horse video I have ever seen. How's that for a plug?
That's pretty good. Now let's have Lester now.
On my left is Lester Buckley, another trainer who went to Brazil with us. And briefly, Lester's life story is almost the antithesis of Ate's story. Here's a Texas ranch-raised cowboy, became a cutting horse trainer, and But when he was a boy, his folks took him to see the Spanish riding school. They were on tour of the United States, and when they hit Houston, he saw them and he said, "That's what I'm going to do when I grow up." And he's done it. So he's not only a very talented he's not only a very talented Western trainer, but he's become an accomplished dressage rider. He trains. He's both a student and a teacher in Germany, and I will say that I've met a handful of men in my life who were born to be horsemen. Just they have certain born talents. Here are some of them. I recognize it. I recognize it in some others. I don't have the talent, but I do recognize it when I see it. And these guys were born to be horsemen and to teach people how to be better with horses. I know you're very active in this revolution in horsemanship. I didn't mention where you're living today. I mentioned he was a Texan, but I didn't. So you tell him what you're doing today, please.
Well, I live in Hawaii now on the Big Island. It's a tough job, but somebody has to do it. So I mainly live in Hawaii most of the year, but I travel off island perhaps once a month or every couple of months doing clinics. Some of them are English, some of them are Western. But for me, and really I owe Dr. Miller, and I think a lot of us owe Dr. Miller, because he's done so much to advance our understanding of the horse mind, of the mule mind, of the donkey mind. So he says he doesn't have it, but yet he's instrumental in everything that we do because he's helped us to understand the mules and the horses. So my hat's off to you. But for me, whether we've got a real highly advanced English horse or a real bothered horse that's had 10 rides or 1,000 rides, if I can go in there and I can say, you know what, I'm a little bit empathetic towards the rider, I kind of empathetic towards what the horse or the mule's got going on, and if I can feel some things that are going that are just hindering the communication, and I can say, you know, you might try this, my experience has been, and help them, and I can leave that situation, and it's not about me, but the mule and the horse is happier and the person's happier, and you see them riding off, and whether they never go to a show their entire life or whether they've got a show that afternoon, you've got a happier person, you've got a happier horse, you've usually got a less drama, you've got a lot less conflict, and for me, that's serving my calling, because that's what I've been called to do. If I can leave the place better than it was when I got there, I'm pretty happy.
Well, I'm glad I had the opportunity to introduce these three horsemen to the viewing audience. There's a lot of people that are becoming famous in this revolution in horsemanship, and some of the most talented people are not that well known. Here's three of them.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks.
And the buckle.
And the buckle.
We gotta show you.
They're absolutely priceless. They hold your pants up.
But if you'll look on here, like Lester said, there's a horse, the mule, and the donkey. So we try to cover all our equines.
I didn't know that. I thought that was a Portuguese saying.